What's up, YouTube? Back on another video. Another reaction to Jimmy High Rollers. He used data to find the closest player to LeBron in the entire NBA. Predicts I got Luka.
Think now more than ever, LeBron
else,
is an absolute anomaly, truly a one of one. In the NBA's near 80-year history, there's never been a player quite like him. I mean, go through the laundry list of players both past and present who have drawn comparisons, and none of them are all that similar to LeBron. An unfair blend of size and speed, the strength of a big with the skills of a guard, an alleged pass-first player who bulldozed his way to the most points in NBA history. And all of this got me thinking, who is the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA right now? It's a question that I've always wanted to know the answer to. And after spending countless hours looking at the data, crunching the numbers, and comparing players from all around the league to LeBron, from the playmaking to the size, the shooting, the play style, I finally have the answer. And the most similar player to LeBron is not who you think it is.
It's not Luka. It's about to be. Oh, damn. He's saying it's not Luka. So
Today's video is sponsored by Get Premium. I'm touching on the draft 100 only to top LeBron James. Of course, not including himself. Who is the most similar to him? I'm sure among some of the names that come to mind, Paulo Banchero, Zion Williamson, what remains of Ben Simmons, and Luka Doncic are all viable candidates. But even those guys, despite being the closest thing, are not really all that similar to LeBron. Paulo isn't as offensively dynamic as a young LeBron
Russell Westbrook?
Zion
I wouldn't
isn't
be surprised. I'll be honest.
Of a passer. Luka isn't nearly as explosive, and Ben Simmons has pretty much
James
stopped
Harden?
playing basketball altogether. Oddly enough, LeBron's game isn't even that unique. A do-it-all Swiss Army knife point forward. If anything, in today's positionless league, this archetype of player is the most common. And yet, somehow, after 21 years, not only have we not come across a single player who can do it as well as him, we have yet to see a player with a game that even resembles LeBron's. But why is that? In fact, with a game as relatively simple and effective as LeBron's, why has there not been a single player in the NBA who plays like him? This series of questions led me down a long and exhausting rabbit hole of what I believe to be the most extensive look into this topic. Who is the most similar player to LeBron James? Now, usually whenever this question comes up, the most common and possibly accurate answer involves combining two different players. A hybrid. Many fans have said LeBron is a mix between Magic Johnson and Scottie Pippen.
I've never heard the
skills of Grant Hill with the frame of a power forward. Tracy McGrady in Karl Malone's body. CraftedNBA.com has a great tool called Doppelgangers, which uses an extensive batch of metrics to find similar players throughout the NBA. But this tool specifically looks at the results of a player's game without looking at the method in which they got those results, which is an important distinction. For example, Kevin Durant and Bam Adebayo had the same field goal percentage last season, but the shots they took to get there were wildly different. To find real similarity, the method is just as important as the result. And so I decided to take matters into my own hands. And after hours of research, metric-based analysis, and data crunching in an attempt to solve this age-old question, I think I have the answer. An almost definitive conclusion on the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA today. And I guarantee the player who came out ahead of everyone else is not who you think it is. First, I had to reduce the entire league down to the players who had even an ounce of resemblance to LeBron and his game. Floor generals, oversized guards, hyper-athletic players, slashers, players who are just really good, bigs with guard skills, the do-it-all Swiss Army knives, high-usage guys,
Draymond Green?
and because why not, Victor Wembanyama. Eventually, I was able to narrow down the list of players included in our experiment to about 70. Of those 70 players, here are the ones that scored the highest in similarity to LeBron. Now, how exactly did I quantify similarity throughout this process? Well, first I had to determine the metrics in which I wanted to measure. And here are those metrics. Stature, usage and creation, shooting tendencies, portability, passing, defense, athleticism, dominance, shooting ability, and play style. 10 isolated metrics that factor in each and every aspect of LeBron's game. Finding the similarities between him and any other player was the easy part. For example, take passing, which can be measured fairly accurately with passer rating, a metric that measures how frequent, effective, and efficient a player passes the ball. The metric is on a scale from 1 to 10, and LeBron's career passer rating is 7.67.
Okay,
that's really
close,
good.
Yeah.
James Harden has a career passer rating of 7.37. Yeah. That is also really good. Jaylen Brown has a career passer rating of 3.24, and that's not so good. To quantify just how similar these two players are to LeBron in terms of passing, we just need to figure out how much their passer rating deviates from LeBron's. In this case, James Harden's passer rating only deviates from LeBron's by 3.9%, while Jaylen Brown's passer rating deviates by 57.8%. This would give Harden a passing similarity score of 96.1% and Jaylen Brown a similarity score of 42.2%. By using this method of measurement, I calculated the similarity score of every player in our experiment across all 10 previously mentioned categories. Probably the closest. I then tallied up their total score to find the overall most similar player to LeBron. The player with the highest score after evaluating all 10 categories is the player that shares the most in common with him. So, now that you know the method, let's see the results. Now, the first category we're going to take a look at is stature. If we were put to the task of building a basketball player in a lab with the ideal NBA frame, he would probably come out looking like LeBron. 6'9", 250 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan. In fact, here are his exact measurements, courtesy of CraftedNBA.com, measurements you would usually find in a power forward. And that's exactly the type of players that share the most in common with LeBron in terms of physical frame. Among the players we are evaluating, the one that has the most similar frame to LeBron is Paolo Banchero, whose measurements are almost identical to LeBron's with a similarity score of 99.1%. From his height to his weight and wingspan. The next closest players are Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Alperen Sengun.
Oh, whoa. Stature. I was like, nigga, what? Y'all can't see my head right now, but right at the top. Oh, no, y'all can see the names. Y'all see the names. I just can't see, like, height and wingspan for Paolo, Julius Randle was. So, they got Paolo at 6'9", 7-foot wingspan. Y'all see the 250. Dang, Julius Randle is 6'7" and 3/4. He's also 7-foot wingspan, 250. Ben Simmons is 240 with a 7 and 3/4 wingspan, height 6'9". Alfred Sengun, but he's not black. So I feel like any nigga that is not black, I'm taking him off. Besides, like, that's what I'm saying. Even Luka, cause nigga's not athletic enough. That's what I'm saying. It would have to be. It'd have to be like, Paolo, then stature, Aaron Gordon. But he's too small, so that's why it's not as big. But that's what I'm saying. Literally, like build. Like actual build, it's Paolo.
And Domantas Sabonis. Keep in mind, although I will only be displaying the results of 20 to 30 players per category, each individual score is being factored in and will be revealed at the end.
Stats, though,
now, in terms of shooting, not efficiency, but rather where players choose to operate on offense and take their shots. There aren't many players around the league that are very similar to LeBron. He's got the size of a power forward, and he uses that size to get to the rim and attempt 35% of his shots within 3 feet of the basket. But he also attempts nearly a quarter of his shots from behind the three-point line. Players with shot selections this balanced are pretty rare. Take, for example, a player like Zion Williamson, who has the physical tools like LeBron, but he does the majority of his work right around the basket. You'd think a player like Jason Tatum might be similar to LeBron in this aspect with how well-rounded his arsenal of shots can be, but he tends to favor three-point shooting above any other shot. So when it comes to shot selection, the player that is most similar to LeBron throughout the entire NBA is actually Russell Westbrook.
I told you.
Whose shot selection only deviates from LeBron's by about 8%. The next closest player is Julius Randle, followed by Jimmy Butler, Paolo Banchero,
and
Andrew
Wiggins. That's what I'm saying.
Wiggins.
Which is, if y'all think this is a disrespectful statement, something wrong with you. But I think Russ is definitely just a 6'3" LeBron James, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with that. But no, Russ is literally just LeBron James. He's just 6 inches shorter. You feel me? I don't know.
Wiggins, who all similar to LeBron have extremely,
which is crazy because Bronny doesn't have that athleticism. That's what I'm saying. I think if Bronny did have that athleticism, it wouldn't be any argument for why they
balanced
drafted him.
shot selections.
Because if he had
now,
athleticism,
one of LeBron's most valuable and distinctive traits is his versatility as a player. One of his most underrated accomplishments is that he is the only player in NBA history to be listed at all 5 positions for
right behind him
almost.
I think he's
and
missed
there's
one.
actually a metric that makes an attempt to measure this adaptability.
That's what I'm saying. That right there,
portability. This metric collects data like passer rating, shooting ability, ball dominance, and usage, as well as defensive versatility, and calculates how portable a player is within any given.
Yeah. This is a lot of words. Got to put some spectacles on, learning glasses. You smell me. True shooting plus standardized shooting ability times 2.5 plus standardized crafted DPM positional divided by 2 plus standardized versatility divided by 3. Right? Yeah, that's the slash, the backslash should be normally a divide sign, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Plus standardized passing rating times 1.5 minus standardized load times 0.25 minus standardized box times 0.5, which I guess that's the numbers from somebody would be the 16%, 14%, 8%, 5, 25, and 6. We take this number and then convert it on a 1 to 10 scale. Both this and our passing rating are inspired by the one created by Ben Taylor from Back Picks. Check him out. He's portability
system. In other words, how well would a player fit if you dropped him into a team with 14 random players? The metric is on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is a perfect score. LeBron has a career portability rating of 7.82, and the most similar players to LeBron in this regard are Chris Paul and Jason Tatum, who are both
Jason Tatum. I guess. But Chris Paul, I definitely agree.
Both nearly
Chris Paul has that dog
to LeBron, with similarity scores of 99.8.
You know the only reason Russ is damn near on the bottom of this, it's damn near LA. Is he not even on this fucking list? How? No, I gotta be blind. Portability. So it doesn't have anything to do with niggas leaving teams. Obviously, since Jason Tatum's number 2. That's James Harden being up there makes sense. That's what I'm saying, but Russ isn't up there? Nigga, how? Jokic is up there? Jimmy Butler makes sense. I think he should be slightly higher. He has that real dog in him. Chris Paul having a 99.8 tied. 3-way tie with him and Kevin. Yeah, okay. So if I would choose Kevin Durant as the 1, then Chris Paul, Jason Tatum would be the 3rd. I don't even think Jason Tatum should be that high, honestly. Jason Tatum's a pretty good character person. Basketball player.
8%. The next closest players are Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden. It's worth noting that there are players around the league who are even more portable than LeBron has been throughout his career, such as Kawhi, Harden,
crazy.
Paul George, and Nikola Jokic. But you can't really be like LeBron if you aren't willing and great at passing the ball. So the next metric we're
which is why Chris Paul gonna be up there. Chris Paul, James Harden, Russ, who else about to be
from
up
1
there?
to 10,
Them
with
probably
of
top
course
3.
10 being the best possible
Makes sense.
rating.
They're gonna be
now,
guards.
throughout his career, LeBron has had a passer rating of 7.67.
James Harden is like a 2,
and the
so
player
it makes
most
sense
similar
to
to
like
him
6'6".
in this metric is once again
Chris
Russell
Paul.
Westbrook,
Russ. Oh,
who
yeah,
has
God.
the same exact career passer
I keep
rating
telling
as
y'all
LeBron
niggas,
does.
Russ is literally just a 6'3"
100%
Bron.
similarity. The next most similar players are Josh Giddey,
What
Luka
person
Doncic.
would aura? Or no, I wouldn't even say aura. I would just say with more personality. Russ has more off-court personality than LeBron. You see when my nigga got traded, or KD left and he's in that bitch driving, and now I do what I want. That's what I'm saying. My nigga Russ got that personality. Josh Giddey, what? Got Josh Giddey with the passer rating? I guess he passing the shade. They got 3-point shooters on it. Then Luka, that makes sense. Yeah, it's gonna be guards. Jokic is probably the only like non-guard, because Draymond is basically just a power. What you call it? A power forward. a point forward like LeBron too. So no, he's literally the only one outside that is Jokic, because Jokic is not no point center. I don't care what y'all niggas say, bro. That team just raw as fuck.
Ja Morant, and James Harden. And already you can begin to see just how diverse LeBron's skills are. In some categories, he has most in common with big men, while in other categories, he resembles a guard. Which leads us to our next category, and the most important aspect of LeBron's game.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like Draymond has to be up there.
Throughout LeBron's career, he has been the engine to every offense he's been a part of.
At the end of the video,
not just with his scoring, but with his playmaking. And to measure this, we can use 3 different metrics: box creation estimate, offensive load, and usage percentage.
If Ben Simmons was healthy,
this is where LeBron
I think he would be,
anomaly. Players
but not as close because he don't really shoot enough threes at all.
For themselves, but usually it takes a ball-dominant guard to really carry the load of an entire offense the way LeBron has throughout his career. Which is why if we search for the most similar players in these metrics, we will find point guards. Russell Westbrook, Ja Morant.
I told you, that's what I was like. Russ is gonna be top. I feel like Russ is gonna be top 3 now that we know it's not like Luka. Russ gotta be like top 3. I don't know who else. I don't know who else could be up there. James Harden. Doesn't sound like James Harden and like Russ. Them really my top 2 answers. Now that he said it wasn't Luka basically. That's what I'm saying. 97% box creation, offensive load, usage rate. Really, Ja Morant below that? Interesting. Chris Paul's old at this point. So, but younger, we definitely be up there. Okay. Interesting to know that KD and damn, that usage rate still that high. And them niggas on the same team. Nigga, how? That's crazy. That's why them niggas are certified buckets. Shay's only 14. I'm telling you, offensive load 40. That's what I'm saying. 60% of the offensive load. So it's just like all-time career type shit. Probably.
And James Harden being the most similar to LeBron in terms of their usage and creation on offense. However, there are some bigs who have transcended their positional value, such as Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, defensively, LeBron's career hasn't been nearly as consistent. At his peak, he was a phenomenal defender, one of the best in the entire league. But in recent years, he has games where he can be a flat-out liability on the defensive end. And although defense can be a difficult thing to measure, there are a couple metrics that might be able to point us in the right direction in our search for the most similar player to LeBron. Specifically, defensive versatility rating and crafted defensive plus minus are the 2 metrics we'll be using here. Throughout his career, LeBron has a defensive versatility rating of 60.3 and a crafted defensive plus minus of 1.38.
When you need him to guard a 4, he can, but
actually really good, especially for an offensive player of his caliber. And with these 2 metrics, we can find the player who is most similar to LeBron defensively, both in quality and versatility. And after crunching the numbers,
like Giannis,
that
possibly, or is it Russ again? Chris Paul,
with a similarity score of 88.2%, followed by Amen Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Giannis.
Defensive versatility, plus or minus. Chris Paul, Amen. Jimmy Butler makes sense. Giannis, I thought Giannis was gonna be up there. Ben Simmons, OG, Franz, Draymond, Paul Gasol, not Paul Gasol, Paul George. That makes sense. I'm surprised. Well, his stats, his on-par stats aren't up there enough. But I would think Paul George would be higher.
Oddly enough, despite LeBron not being considered an elite defender for years now, statistically throughout his career as a whole, he is most comparable to some of the most valuable defensive players in the league. Our next category is what I believe to be the most indicative of measuring similarities from player to player. And that is play style, what role they play on offense, where they find the most value while on the court, and their habits both on and off the ball. Now, quantifying a player's play style is tough to do. What do you measure and how do you measure it? Well, on craftednba.com, within each player's profile, there is a breakdown of their usage by play type. These plays range from ISO possessions to pick and roll as both the ball handler and the roll man, the post, off-ball cuts, handoffs, screens, and spot up. These 8 play types are essentially the 8 major different roles a player can play on any given possession. In LeBron's case, 4 of these 8 different play types make up for the majority of all of his possessions on offense. Post possessions, spot-up shooting, ISO possessions, and his favorite, pick and rolls as the ball handler. Now, if we take a look at these 4 play types and search for the players with the most similar usage percentage across all 4, then the player that has the most similar play style to LeBron is Jimmy Butler, who surprisingly shares many of the same habits, both in usage and play type, especially in ISO, pick and roll, and post possessions. The next most similar players to LeBron in this category were Giannis, Jason Tatum, Durant, and Jaylen Brown. For the most part, versatile wings that can generate offense from just about anywhere on the court. Now, athleticism is extremely difficult to measure in the NBA. Jumping high and running fast are feats of athleticism, but so are hand-eye coordination, stamina, and body control. And LeBron's athleticism is a key aspect of his abilities as a player, specifically in regards to his explosiveness. But unless you can get out there with a measuring tape and a stopwatch and grab some marks, it's almost impossible to really get an idea of how athletic LeBron is, or any player is for that matter. So that's exactly what we're going to do. By looking at each player's vertical leap. Now, although this is only one very simple way of measuring an athlete's explosiveness, max vertical leap is proven to be an effective gauge at doing just that. And it's an insightful metric in this context since LeBron's vertical leap has been a massive component to his game throughout the majority of his career. And according to countless sources, at his peak, LeBron had a max vert somewhere between 40 and 44 inches. After all these years, there's been no real confirmation on these numbers, but every single source I could find has his max vert listed somewhere between 40 and 44. So we'll go with something right in the middle, 42 inches. And in terms of vertical leap, there's actually 4 players in the league today who are most similar to LeBron. Anthony Edwards, Ben Simmons.
Ben not jumping like that no more after the back injuries. Kiss that goodbye. Damn near just 35. Ant though for sure. Aaron Gordon definitely, even after some injuries too. I'm at Don, Ja, Wiggins, D Rose. That's what I'm saying. These have to be like all time because I don't think D Rose jumping like the 40 no more.
Aaron Gordon and Thompson, all with vertical leaps of 41.5 inches. The next most similar players are Donovan Mitchell, John Morant, Andrew Wiggins, and Derrick Rose. Now, we have factored in play style and shot selection, but we also need to consider shooting ability. It's probably the most average aspect of LeBron's game. Throughout his career, LeBron has been a streaky shooter, better as of late than he was in his early days in the league, but all in all, just very average. And this is really important. It's one of the main things that separates him from other great wings like Durant and Kawhi, who have been excellent shooters throughout their careers. And instead of strictly using field goal percentage to measure LeBron's shooting ability, we are going to be using Crafted NBA's shooting quality metric. It's a stat that combines shooting percentages with spacing and shot value to find what they describe to be the most accurate shooters in the league on a scale from 1 to 100. For context, Steph Curry clocked a perfect 100 out of 100 shooting quality rating for the past 2 seasons. Over his 21 seasons in the league, LeBron has a career average shooting quality rating of 61.8. And right now, the player who is almost exactly the same caliber of shooter as LeBron is Jaylen Brown, with a career shooting quality rating of 61.9 and a similarity score of 99.
Rui second, B.I. third, OG fourth, Luka fifth, DeMar sixth, AD seventh, Jeremy Grant eighth, Russ 10. So I feel like Russ been like top 10 in most of these.
Followed by Rui Hachimura, Brandon Ingram, OG Anunoby, and Luka Doncic. And with one more category left, we cannot leave out the most important thing of all: how good at basketball LeBron is. A player can pass like him, jump like him, shoot like him, but if they aren't dominating games, how similar to LeBron can they possibly be? And to measure dominance, instead of looking at accolades and accomplishments, we are going to look at purely how great they have been in their time in the NBA through the lens of an advanced metric, Crafted plus minus. Now this metric is an aggregate of 10 other advanced metrics.
Oh Lord,
it's essentially
I'm not reading that one, I'm sorry.
Of all the all-in-ones. It's just what we're looking for. And LeBron's career Crafted plus minus is 7.66, which is...
This is the real thing, the questions I ask. How does that help? Like, if somebody could explain that, I would very much appreciate that. Because if it's a combination of a combination of a combination, That's what I'm saying. It's too much.
Is the second highest in NBA history, only behind Michael Jordan. So although we're looking for the most similar player to LeBron, really we're looking for the best players in the league in this category. And in terms of crafted plus minus, that player is Nikola Jokic, with a career crafted plus minus of 7.62 and a similarity score of 99.5%. Easily.
Where's Russ at on here, bro? Y'all not gonna do my nigga like that, bro. Nigga, not even on here. Scotty, Chris Paul makes sense. James Harden, Kawhi, Crafted plus. I guess because he's 14th. Okay, I'm like, bro.
The most similar player to LeBron in terms of dominance. The next closest players are Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Joel Embiid. And with that, we have assessed all 55 players across all 10 categories. Now, did all this research and number crunching take me far longer than I was anticipating?
Yeah. How long? It took you a month or more than a month? Was it worth it?
I think so. Because in a league where there isn't anyone quite like LeBron, I think with very high accuracy,
this video already
hit
like
the search for the most LeBron-like player down to one.
Right.
After scanning a field of 70 potential matches across 10 different categories and dozens of metrics, the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA today is Jimmy Butler.
Really?
It's kind of crazy, right?
Not surprised.
In the end, Butler finished with an average similarity score of 80.81% across all 10 categories,
I thought it would have been like
finishing just ahead of Giannis and Durant and having a sizable lead on Jokic and Luka.
Okay, so these are the top statistic week LeBron-like players. Jimmy Butler, Giannis, KD. I can see the Giannis. I definitely see the Giannis. Then KD. Okay. I can live with that.
Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the player who came out on top wasn't a guy you would expect.
I didn't see him Jimmy above Butler that much in advanced analytics. Why couldn't we get fifth place though, gang?
Similar players to LeBron. But when looking at his scores throughout each category, turns out he is eerily similar in many ways. The only categories he didn't score well in were usage and creation and dominance, which makes sense. Butler isn't nearly the playmaker or as ball dominant as LeBron has been. And quite frankly, there's only a few players that even come close to LeBron in terms of dominance. But looking back, I think the clearest glimpse we got into just how similar Butler can be to LeBron was in the 2020 NBA Finals. Throughout this series, Jimmy Butler did a lot more facilitating than we're used to seeing from him. He was hyper efficient from the floor, did his best jack of all and assertive, but doing well with point. It's a total numbers involved condensed to the.
Oh God, I just needed to see the final results. I'm gonna rest that game. He's 11th. Okay, so 5th was Luka. Okay, James Harden, Kawhi, Paul George, Jason Tatum, Chris Paul, which is crazy because all 4 of these niggas was on a team last year. Kawhi was hurt. That's what I'm saying. If Kawhi wasn't hurt, this team would have had to go to the conference finals based off just they meshed too well together. Just too well together. Dang, so who was the fifth last was Lou Dort. That makes sense. Who was like 15? Siakam, Draymond. See, I thought Draymond would have been a little bit closer, but I guess dominance. I don't. Interesting. Probably just not enough points scored. I don't know. There's that Ben Simmons. Who the fuck was Ben at? He probably was low. Yeah, he was 37.
50 honest, but in third, the nuts some similarity and here leading to completely different shooting splits, play styles, and usage. Visually,
my bad. Yeah, stature. That's what I'm saying. Like on paper, he looks like visually, like the eye test, he's like, oh yeah, LeBron. His stature, passing, defense, athleticism. You're like, oh yeah, this could be LeBron. Portability, you like.
Their games have looked similar, but in reality, outside of the size, athleticism, and passing, they actually don't have as much in common as you would think. Among the young guys in the league, it is Cade Cunningham who has the most in common with LeBron, finishing 17th, followed by a
that's 1%.
Player who has drawn the comparison recently in Paolo Banchero. The next closest
Paolo, I always call Bill Palo. I'm sorry, Paolo. Is Cade tall enough though? That was my only question. He's 6'6". Yeah, no, that's why niggas say Paulo. Because the nigga six, he literally built. That's what I'm saying. So for him to be like three inches shorter than LeBron, and him to have like all the similarities is crazy. But yeah, bro. Yeah, I can't do it. But yeah, y'all let me know how y'all. Who did y'all think it was gonna be? Cause I was definitely like Russ, Chris Paul, maybe James Harden. The Jimmy Butler threw me off. I didn't think he was gonna be number one. That's like maybe top five, like fifth or seventh. But then I'm like, height wise and something, it does make sense. It makes sense, yeah. So y'all let me know what y'all want me to watch next. If y'all got any recommendations, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Probably should set this a lot earlier because this is a half-hour video, but I didn't. So we smooth.